So like and subscribe if you want to. As a Celtics fan, I am not doing okay right now. Gordon Hayward is gone. He's going to the Charlotte Hornets. There's things to talk about from both sides. For the Celtics' sake, I mean, there's a chance they blew this by negotiating too hard with the Pacers, and Charlotte was able to swoop in and give Hayward an offer. Now, that being said, there probably is something going back to the Celtics because the Hornets actually don't have the $30 million in cap space that this contract is apparently worth annually. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, there's Batum's big expiring. There's Cody Zeller's expiring. Miles Bridges is a young player the Celtics might want that I could picture the Hornets not really thinking they need to keep him. And as for the Hornets, I mean, they get another good player who they can pair up with LaMelo and Devontae and PJ Washington, and they can try to be a real team in the Eastern Conference. There was talk last night that Hayward was all about the Pacers, and there was negotiations where Miles Turner was the center of the move, and then it was the Celtics apparently wanting TJ Warren or Victor Oladipo or Aaron Holiday. The Pacers were willing to give up Doug McDermott. I don't know. If we find out that Ainge managed to mess that up by just not agreeing to something with Indiana for a sign-and trade, then that would be really rough. Now, if it was just a matter of no one was going to match that money, Charlotte's money, then, I mean, it's a little easier to swallow at that point. You are still losing a very good player. Granted, one who was very unlucky with injuries in Boston, but no matter which way you want to slice it, it's still a tough loss for Boston. As far as why Hayward wanted to leave, I mean, for one, it just might have been a matter of because of all the injuries, he just had to go to a different place. You know, that just might have been his mindset. Could have been the fact that he wasn't as involved in the offense as what he thought he was going to be when he initially signed with the Celtics. I mean, he signed in the offseason in which they turned over the entire roster pretty much. I mean, he initially came to the team because of Isaiah, and then they got Kyrie, and then Jalen was there, and I believe that was the offseason they drafted Tatum as well, so things changed very quickly for the guy. But I will say again, as I said in that other video about him, how much blame do the Celtics deserve here? I mean, if you want to be a Celtics franchise apologist, there's rationale for Kyrie, Horford, and Hayward leaving. With Kyrie, it's Kyrie. With Horford, it's Philly gave him so much money, no one was going to match that one. And then with Hayward, you could look at it as everything I just said. The common denominator there is, of course, the Boston Celtics. And is there something behind the scenes that we are not aware of for this franchise? Or are these just three isolated incidents that you can address any way you want to? I don't really know. I'm sure you could find that discussion on Twitter, and depending on whether you're talking to a Celtics fan or not, you're going to get very different answers. The Celtics are maybe the most volatile team when it comes to NBA fan discussions, where it's like everything is their fault or nothing is their fault, and I guess I just kind of fall in the middle on that whole thing. Anyway, there is another team involved in this, the Charlotte Hornets. They got Gordon Hayward. You just think about the starting five. I mean, it's LaMelo. I think they're going to start Devontae and LaMelo. Could be wrong on that one. Then you think Hayward at small forward, PJ Washington at the 4. As of right now, I guess it's Cody Zeller at center. We'll see with that. Miles Bridges goes to the second unit, which I think is a good move for him. I think he was asked to do a little too much as the starting small forward for this team. And we'll see what happens with Rozier as well. I mean, I already kind of talked about, like, maybe Rozier's got to be the odd man out if you're going to have LaMelo here. Rozier was good this previous season. I think they could get some actual return for him. Now, he probably makes a little too much money, but still, I think you could swap Rozier for some player who can be a rotation guy for you or whatever. But maybe Rozier plays. Maybe Rozier will be a sixth man. Maybe you're playing Hayward at power forward and you're starting LaMelo, Devontae, and Rozier. We'll have to see what they want to do there. Hayward gives them their third best passer. And if Gordon Hayward's your third best playmaker, then I think you're doing pretty damn good. I mean, you're talking 3 guys now, Devontae, LaMelo, and Hayward, who can all go off the dribble, play in the pick and roll, and make passes out to shooters, throw lobs up to big guys. Hayward and LaMelo are both good rebounders who will bring the ball up floor themselves. And I feel like the spacing on this team could be pretty all right as well. I mean, if LaMelo is the guy operating the most in pick and rolls and stuff, you get Devontae spotting up Hayward and PJ Washington. Those are 3 guys who can knock down threes. And honestly, I would kind of give Devontae, I mean, definitely Devontae and Hayward, but also PJ as well, some chances of attacking off of closeouts. I don't think PJ Washington is a one-dimensional offensive player. So I think Charlotte's offense could have quite a few layers to it, where it's a number of guys who can drive and kick, make a pass, shoot a 3, finish inside. Hayward's free throw attempts, yeah, they're not as high as they were in Utah. Maybe they'll creep back up now. I mean, he might not be as fast off the dribble. Like, I feel like he's had to go to turnaround jumpers from like 12 feet a little bit more with the Celtics than he had to with Utah. But he makes them, for one. And 2, I still wouldn't put it past Hayward to be able to still beat defenders off the dribble quite a bit. So, yeah, it's a good move. And then as far as defense is concerned, Hayward can defend. So, yeah, the only question is basically, is he not riddled with lower body injury stuff, and is he going to age well in that contract? I feel like Charlotte might be able to make the playoffs in the East now. I mean, it's going to depend on how good LaMelo is right away. And I haven't uploaded the Gallo video yet, but I've done the commentary already, and I also say in that video that I think Atlanta has a shot at the playoffs now. So the East is kind of managing to be sort of competitive 1 through 8. So that's cool. I mean, the Celtics just lost Hayward. We'll have to see if they can recover with a mid-level or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if the East is on Western Conference levels, but it's probably the closest that it's been in a little while. Granted, I don't think the difference between the 8th seed and like the 3 seed is as close as it is in the West, but at least there's competitiveness throughout the entire Eastern Conference. It's all just kind of relative. Like for the 7th and 8th seeds, we're looking at the Hawks, the Hornets, the Bulls. We'll see what the Knicks do. They're kind of striking out. They lost Hayward. They lost on Van Fleet. We'll see whatever else happens with them. But, yeah, apologies if there's another team that I just forgot. But as far as Hayward with the Hornets, yeah, it's cool. As a Celtics fan, it's not cool. You know, maybe they can recover with their mid-level, and maybe Tatum will just win the MVP next season, and it'll be fine. Anyway, like and subscribe if you want to.